Hello, and this is my review for Star Wars The Old Republic. So let's jump right in and get to the first topic, which is the graphics. This game looks amazing, especially in the little clip I'm playing right here from Fraps that I recorded. The lighting effects here just look stupendous, or stupendous, I don't know. It can be maxed out pretty easily, and I haven't had that many frame rate issues when I'm just walking around by myself. When you get into a large war zone and stuff, there's a lot happening, frame rates start to go down, especially with my high-end rig. But, it has pretty solid frame rates all around, and speaking of the PvP, this is definitely one of my favorite things to do in the game besides the main quest. It is insanely fun, even though I'm on a PvE server, and it is really fun. The war zones in particular, I'm currently at level 44, I haven't been playing that much lately, but it's very fun, and though the lower level players they're not that useful because they have less abilities, but the stat boost definitely helps kind of even it out, if it wasn't there, it would just be us pwning level 14s, but, you know, whatever. Also, all the war zones are really varied. You have Hut Ball, which I was showing the video footage of, which is definitely the best. You kind of have this ball, and you have to run it to the other side, and you can kill people, and there's fire pits. It's extremely fun. It's got a lot of kind of tactical depth to it, because you can, like, pull people, you can stun them while they're in a fire pit, which is really fun, because I think you get a kill for it. It's extremely useful. Then you can also get these little things called awards, which is for doing certain things, like, I have a screenshot of it here. There is, like, healing someone for a certain amount, or doing a certain amount of healing over the course of the game, which gives you more commendations, which you can use to buy gear. They're money, but you can't sell them. They're not, like, credits. You can't use them for anything besides buying stuff for what they're for. And then you also, here's actually some footage of me just running the ball. Ooh, touchdown. You can actually, Hut Ball is one of the most played ones because you can fight other people of your same class, or not class, faction. And the Imperials currently, on my server at least, they're pretty out of proportion to the Republic. Only on a good day will you get a PvP match versus Republic, and so it's really useful. It's the funnest war zone, so I mean, you know, that's good, because there are always Imperials playing. And as you can see from the screenshot, that's another sorcerer that I'm killing. He's an enemy. So it's kind of cool, because one time my guild was playing, and we killed each other, so that was pretty fun. I sunk him in a lava pit. But anyway, it wraps out. The PvP is very good. They're going to add a new war zone in the March update, but I don't really know. They haven't revealed much details about it. There's a video about it somewhere, and the PvP, very good. So right up here we have the story, which is the main kind of draw for Star Wars The Old Republic, and it's pretty good. My class story is very good. It's the only one I've really played past, like, level 20. And I'm not going to ruin anything for you, but it has a lot of twists and turns, some family lines kind of on, you know, a little bit Darth Vader-ish kind of things. And, it's pretty good. It's almost as good as Mass Effect. And up here, the last meal option had there's witty humor parts of it that I liked a lot. One part I don't like, however, is people will repeat the same dialogue options that can be generally applied to different parts of the story, which I don't like, because it's reusing content. That's kind of cutting corners. But up here we have a light side, dark side moment, which I could choose whether to enslave these people or have them follow me. Of course I chose to enslave them, which I gained affection from my companion, that can eventually lead to more parts of their backstory unlocking, eventually in class about halfway through, and romance options too for companions of opposite gender, which of course I'm not going to romance Kinval. Number one, I don't know what gender he is, but it is very good story. All of it's very high quality story. One thing I don't like, however, is how the heroics, which are kind of mini flashpoints, they're not that much story. I'm really interested in their story, but often I can't do it because most of my guild is offline or they're above level. So that kind of bums me out. So I kind of have a checklist of, you know, planets I'm going to revisit when I'm like Cap and just do the heroics. So that's my disappointment with not being able to find the group, is I'm not able to, like, I get the quest briefing and I think, oh, this is so awesome, I get to go, like, kill a bunch of these guys, and then, like, I find out it's a heroic at the very end because they don't tell you what type of quest it is when you see the little marker above someone. So that's kind of disappointing to me. I mean, yeah, so it's not really disappointing. And
Never heard of these
yeah, the Jedi Knight story is also very good. I played one of those to about level 19, and their story is kind of Luke Skywalker-esque. It's, oh, there's this big super weapon, let's go stop it. But they make that interesting. They make that very interesting. Also been playing a bounty hunter. He's up to level 16. Yeah, that's pretty fun. There's a big twist very early on where your mentor kind of dies, which I feel that could have been implemented a little bit like later, but it's kind of crucial to the development of one of the other companions. So I can see how they did that, but I mean, you know, it's one of the things that I kind of didn't like about the story. So next up we have the setting of the game, which I mean, you know, why wouldn't you like the setting? I mean, if you're playing an MMO, you're obviously maybe a nerd. But it's Star Wars. I mean, come on, you know, there's the Star Wars logo there, infamous. You know, people running around with giant freaking light sticks, killing each other. Just really fun. Besides the fact that it's Star Wars, of course, which I am a bit of a fanboy of it, it's executed very well. It has music from the films that I just went and saw Episode 1 in 3D, not my favorite movie, and I noticed that a lot of the soundtrack was pulled directly from the Star Wars movie, which was a good thing, because, I mean, it's got one of the best soundtracks ever. It also has great lore added. What I mean by that is new planets, new areas, new characters that just add a lot to the overall canon and can be improved on greatly. I love, for instance, I'm not going to spoil this, but there is a Flashpoint that has Revan in it from Knights of the Old Republic 1. And I just thought that was great, even though you do get to see his face, which is kind of a rip-off, because, I mean, you know, I like the fact that it had a mystery of you never get to see what his face looks like, and it can be whatever you want. But the planet prison of Belsaphus, which I'm currently on, is very interesting. The kind of Republic's dirty little secret is very well done, and all of the settings are good. Old Hoth, I feel, is interesting, but isn't executed very well. Like, the whole we're fighting for a stalemate thing I feel has been done before. Besides that, everything's really good and solid and fun. Alright, so next up is the combat, which I feel the general concept of MMO, like the hotbar, the healer, the DPS, all that's still in here, and it's kind of, they did a very good job with cramming onto like Sith and Jedi and stuff like that. All the animations are very good. They're slick, blades actually connect. My lightning actually hits the guy, and companions are very nice at in combat. They give you a lot more, like, I have a tank companion, which I use all the time, Kenval, because I'm a healer / ranged DPS, so it complements very nicely. The bosses also play out pretty good. I mean, just your average MMO bosses, with like, big hits, large amount of health, like, you know, your standard giant robots, guys with oversized guns, stuff like that. It's also very balanced in PvP, which I'm showing you more PvP footage here. All the classes are balanced. They all have like stun abilities and stuff like that. The two classes kind of mirror, like I'm mirrored kind of with the Sith, the Jedi Sage, which is basically the advanced class, my opposite class, which is the Jedi Consular. So, you know, it's kind of the same concept there and abilities. Like, literally, we have I've seen some of them using literally the exact same abilities. Like, my primary abilities are, like this, instant DPS, which is, shock, and then overtime lightning, which disperses over a few seconds. And literally they have the same thing, where it's, basically where it's rock throw, which is kind of like lightning, and then when they hurl up a giant rock into the air and throw it at you. Basically the roles are kind of reversed, so you use, I just spam lightning, when I want to DPS a ton. But they are very similar classes, and I mean, that's kind of a good thing, but they all have different stories, so that's fine. Combat overall, you know, your standard MMO thing with Star Wars touches. If you're going to buy this game, don't buy it for the innovative combat. Look, if you're looking for that, go look at Terra, which I've been following for a long time. It looks very good. So combat, okay, average, not the best. So here I'm just kind of showing off my ship in preparation to my review of the space combat. There's my companion Talos, or yeah, I think his name's Talos, and then there's Ashara, she's my apprentice-ish, and then skipping ahead here a little bit, there's my master chamber, There is the Med Bay, which I think Companion will go in there sometime. There is the kind of crew assembly area where we'll gather to discuss stuff. There's Kemval. And here is just a still of my bridge where you get space missions. And speaking of space missions, here's just some gameplay of it. It's pretty, it's not on the level of Star Wars Galaxy Space Combat. It's on rails, it's pretty generic-ish. You have missiles, you have basic attack, use them in kind of cooperation. Enemies get harder with the addition of shields. Sometimes you see ships that are actually the other class's ship from the opposite faction, and those are kind of like bosses in space. They're really hard to take down. And basically, there's also something called, at the bottom left, there's two little hot bar abilities. That's a power converter, which you get later on. You can switch between having, like, basically no shields, and then having insanely, like, I think 50 to 100% better lasers, which really helps. No shield regeneration is, I think, what it is. And then the second one, your lasers don't do anything. You can still fire missiles and they're still effective, and you gain shields really fast. There's no cooldown, so you can kind of balance it. So, if you see I just took a break there, I had time to regenerate my shields quicker, and then switch back to number 1, so I could totally obliterate these guys before they cause damage to me. Here's my ultimate fate in space combat. But yeah, overall, space combat, not like on the level of TIE Fighter or Star Wars Galaxies. It's a fun distraction. It earns you experience. The loot's only available to your ship, but it's an okay addition. I'd like to have it seen fleshed out a bit more, maybe even space combat PvP. Hopefully we'll see that in the future. There's nothing announced yet, though.